Cryptocurrency, is becoming widely acceptable. And if you are a blogger, a content creator, a media company, you might want to think about using a new plugin for your WordPress site. Alon Goren of Draper, Goren, Holm is with me to explain what this plugin does and how it gets you into the crypto world. Hi, Alon. Nice to have you here.
Thanks for having me back. I always love being on your show.
So tell me how this works and what the advantage is to, for example, any of the people that I mentioned, bloggers and media people.
Yeah, so the idea is that crypto is really hard, but everybody has heard that you should be buying some Ethereum or trading it for DAI or using these tokens. And these tokens are complicated, and the exchanges are even more complicated. Yeah. So I've been begging one of our portfolio companies for years to make a tool to make it super simple, like a WordPress plugin, as an example, so that anybody who creates content, because 35% of the internet is powered by WordPress, to make it really simple for those people to add crypto trading to their website. And I actually ended up over quarantine pulling an all-nighter, taking one of our portfolio companies' special code that they made to do this stuff, and I made a one-click plugin for WordPress to allow anybody to do that.
So does that involve like high engineering or super coding, or tell me about this, how this works? No,
so essentially, people who already use crypto and stuff have wallets on their mobile or have wallets in their browser. But the people who create the content aren't engineers. So I made this so simple that all you have to do is click one click, and you can add it to your website.
Oh, gosh, that's great. Now, what, for example, would I be using crypto for on my website, for example?
So, for example, if you, as a media company, had a show about a company in the crypto space and they had tokens that were trading, and you could then, at the end of your blog post or right below your news segment about this company, say, do you think this is interesting? Act on this news, and then allow people who are on your site either to buy or sell that cryptocurrency based on how they felt. They might go, that Alon guy on your show, I don't really like him. I'm selling all his tokens right now. Or they might go, wow, he's a cool guy. I want to buy all the Carlos tokens. So it's for use cases like that.
What is the value of that? Give me the value proposition for this.
So I think that the value for something like this is great, because currently if you hear about Bitcoin on the news, you hear about Ethereum on the news, you then have to download some special app. You have to jump through a bunch of steps to do it. In this type of use case, you would hear about it, and in the same place you're already at, you can act on that news. So it's like reading a news article about a stock while you're logged into your Schwab account. If you read about it on Schwab and then you go, oh, I'm going to buy it right now. There's no such thing as that for crypto right now. And so we wanted to make something that simple.
So, this is interesting because this is starting to evolve now into I remember when you and I first talked about this many years ago, I didn't have a clue what it was, and I'm slowly beginning to get the sense of it. Do you think the general public is starting to get it, understand what blockchain and crypto and tokens are all about?
I think so, and I think that there was so much hype and craziness, and then it went down, and now the real builders are there, the real technology is there. And I actually don't usually suggest to the general public and to my friends to buy and sell these tokens. I don't buy and sell these tokens. I participate in certain ones that are really, really exciting to me. So like, for example, there's ones where you can earn 6.25% interest on your dollars. Wow. There's no such thing as a normal bank account where you can earn that kind of interest right now.
No.
So I like things like that, where it's safe and traditional in terms of the use case and the style, but it's only enabled because of blockchain technology. And so that's where it's going, but everyone has to learn how to use it and play with it until they get comfortable doing that.
Let me advise our viewers that all investments are risky, and especially crypto space, they may be even riskier. I would take advice from your doctor before investing.
I would, yes. I always tell people, if you want to learn about the space, assume you're going to lose 100% of the money you put in while you're learning. So put in $20, $50, the amount you spend on coffee for a week, and then just watch what happens to it. Because one day that $50 will be $100, the next day it'll be $14, the next day it'll be $18, or $800. Who knows? It's such a volatile space. Not quite as volatile as our current stock market, but that's a whole different thing. And
you bring up an interesting point, and that is that, once you get into it, you understand it. I mean, I remember when I first began to understand the stock market and I began to trade on E-Trade, for example, I learned a lot more about what that was all about by doing it. And I think people fear the new stuff, they fear the unknown, and therefore they're reticent to get into it. But this way, I think it's really interesting, and they could play in this space, learn about it, and then get really serious about it.
Yeah, and I tell people this all the time. I'm not a speculative trader. I'm not that guy. It's just not me. But you can take $5 and $10 at a time and play around and learn about these companies, and it might turn to nothing. But what'll probably happen is that 5 years from now, when a lot of big, large corporations are doing enterprise blockchains and things like that, you'll be first in line for that job. And that's the most important thing. If you educate yourself on the next level of technology, you're unstoppable.
All right. So where do we go to find out more about this plugin, and how do we get in touch with you?
So to get in touch with me, especially if you're a blockchain startup, I want to meet you. You go to drapergorenholm.com. But this WordPress plugin lives at wpcryptoexchange.com. Check it out. It's a fun tool for content creators.
Alon Goren, thanks so much. This was a really interesting conversation. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks for having me.